Welcome, everyone. My name is Jeff St Laurent, and in just a minute, I'm going to introduce you one of my great mentor coaching clients, the stylish guy that he is with his awesome bow tie. Before we get going, I do record all of my Tuesday live shows, and I put them in my university at sellingcoaching.com. I help coaches transition to a full-time business. I like to think I have a lot of great resources on my website, a lot of intricate, detailed resources. You could start right off at the homepage at sellingcoaching.com, enter your name and email address. That gets you an audio resource, and it's the first 3 vital steps of launching your coaching business. In addition to that, I've got my university. I've got a great 14-day challenge, which is how I met Javier, which I'm going to introduce in a second. So my 14-day GoPro challenge, I just wrapped up one. We'll be doing another one soon. So if you're looking to learn more about that and see when the next dates are, visit GoProChallenge.com. With that being said, Javier Lopez, the govgeeks.com. Dude, welcome to the Tuesday live show.
Outstanding. Thank you so much for having me here. I really appreciate it, Jeff.
Yeah. So he's an awesome guy. I mean, I have a lot of great clients. Javier's awesome. He is, I love your style. And I love, like, you are a hardcore, like, American. And if you can't, I mean, you can't see his total background, but you could start to see the Captain America shield that's kind of cut off on the side there. And, well, you'll get to know more of why. But let's start this off because I know we've got a lot to share. Javier came to me probably about 7 months ago now. And you started off taking my GoPro challenge, and then you continued on and you signed up to do my 5-month GoProElite group mentor coaching program. So let's rewind. And today is all about, like, talking about your business. And I work with a lot of coaches that come to me in the beginning stages, right? They're starting from scratch or in that vicinity, whereas you're different. I have some other coaches like you as well, but you had an established business. You knew a very targeted audience. You had a strong website. You've gotten paid before, and I think over the course of that time, like we discussed prior, you kind of revitalized, rejuvenated, and also kind of refined everything that you had done in your business, and that's what we'll talk about, in the next little bit. But talk to people about when you initially came to the 14-day GoPro challenge. Give us a snapshot of kind of where you were with your business and what you were looking to do.
Sure, absolutely. So the business was great. I was able to do a lot of speaking engagements and work with a certain type of demographic within the public sector. Mainly was a lot of people who are interested in getting into government right after college or right after earlier on in their career, trying to kind of make some moves and everything. The challenge that I had, though, was really providing the GovGeeks as a service on a bigger scale on top of that. So what I needed was a good understanding of how to go about creating a structure or a mechanism that would allow me to consistently reach the target audience and, honestly, at the end of the day, provide them with value. There was a lot of one-on-one that I could do, but I needed something a little bit more on a bigger scale. So our whole purpose is to really help public servants so that they in turn can help the public. I mean, that's just our connection that we have to public service and why we're doing all of this. So if I couldn't really serve people in that way, then I wasn't serving the mission that we had. So that was really important for me. But the 14-day challenge did a really great job of helping me to really provide some structure and get some understanding around how I can go about begin executing the larger goals and objectives that we had. So then from there, the larger conversations that we had and the relationship that we developed just really added to that.
Yeah, definitely. And so now that you did that challenge afterwards, you decided to do the 5-month GoProElite program with me.
Exactly.
What was the basis for your decision of, like, wanting to do more? Like, what did you feel you really were, let's say, lacking or needed to figure out in your business, in that time frame?
Sure. So like a lot of us coaches, we know coaching and we know how to have the conversations, how to help people and all that. But just because we know that aspect doesn't necessarily mean we know how to sell coaching. And I went through the IPEC program, the Institute for Professional Excellence in Coaching. I had a wonderful experience. I learned so much. I got my credentials and everything from that. But one of the things that was missing was, well, how do you use this? How do you take this to the next level? And you had a really great program, a quick start program as part of the IPEC program. And it really got in the back of my head like, okay, Jeff obviously knows about selling coaching. This is what it is and what's great. And so in the point in my mind, I was thinking to myself, well, if I'm really invested in what this is, if I really have a passion for it, well, why wouldn't I want to invest in myself to allow me to serve others in what I do? So yeah, I mean, I believe in coaching and I believe in taking coaching and offering it for others as well. And this was just a fantastic opportunity for me to really understand how I could do this much better and much more effectively for people.
Yeah. And because you already were doing things. So can you share like what were some of your challenges? Like what were you maybe struggling with in the business that you knew you needed to refine and get better?
Well, I needed to refine our overall mission statement. That was like one of the main things, our mission statement and then our vision statement. So now I'm able to say that we help government employees lead purpose-driven careers in public service. And that's really powerful and meaningful for us. And it took us a lot of time to kind of like say, why and how and who, et cetera, to really get down to that mission statement. I definitely needed that. I know that we needed to really take what we were doing to the next level. And then the vision statement as connected with that is that we serve the American public through service to America's public servants. And once those were put together, it just kind of like made more sense. So it's like, okay, what do we do now that we have this? How do we go about serving public servants even more? So the weekly message, the weekly descriptions of our work and our activities, our educational advertisement basically that we're doing on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. These are just different platforms that we were playing with, and we had some success. We weren't really consistent. We didn't have an ongoing strategy to say, this time we're going to take this activity and it's going to lead to this, lead to that. And now we even have the 14-day GovGeek challenge, which kind of sounds familiar, right? But there's just so much overlap between that. And at the end of the day, what we're doing is we're giving people more consumable information and products that allow them to really serve the public in what they're doing, or to get the job that they're looking for so that they can serve the public. And that is really adding value for them and of course for us. And that just, it leads to more engagement and honestly more clients.
Yeah. And so talk about some of the specific structures that we help you set up, within your
Sure.
business. You talked about like, you had some things, but you were just inconsistent and there was no structure to them. You alluded to some of them, but to walk us through like because I think a lot of those coaches that watch this or the recording of this,
Right.
like, well, what are those structures? Like, what do we have to do?
Well, I would say it's our email messaging, it's our email marketing, and how we go about using all of that. So I would do like a couple of videos on YouTube, at least maybe once a month, and I would spend a lot of time on the editing process and all of that. And the videos I thought looked great, but they really weren't hitting people in a way that could be helpful. It was kind of like hit or miss. So what we have now is a weekly message that goes out. We have our weekly live show that we do on Thursdays at 6 p.m. on Facebook as well as on YouTube. And then we also provide that on Mondays. I had to do a shameless plug. On Mondays as well, where we have the recorded version, and then we launch that into our podcast as well. So we're sending out more information to people, and we're using our email list that we have now. There's just about 400 to 500 that we have, where they receive the information and then from there are able to take actions on it. They can sign up for the GoProChallenge Challenge. They can find out more information about the strategies that we're providing. Like we have a LinkedIn series, a 9-part series on resume writing. That's not something that we had before. Also, the giveaway, at the very beginning to really begin adding value for people. So as soon as people sign up for our community newsletter, what we call the GovGeekdom, that then allows them access to a free online course. So we have templates for the resumes, we have links and strategies, and a whole video around how to go about using that. And then that dovetails into the 14-day challenge to help them understand, well, how do I write my resume, create a career strategy? How do I set really good interview points for me to have when I'm discussing my interviews? And then how do I go about an application strategy that's really meaningful? And at the end of that, if they're still hungry for more, at that point, they're already seeing the value then it's a whole lot easier for them to be like, yeah, of course I would want to have coaching. This is something that's really valuable and I want to learn more. As opposed to at the very beginning, what we were doing, we would have like conversations, our consultations and all of that. And when we're saying, yeah, the services cost $1,000, $3,000, however much the amount was. And for them, it was like kind of jarring because they're like, whoa, dude, I just need help writing a resume. Why are you charging so much money? But now that they see the value and they understand at a bigger level, the willingness for them to really engage in that because they see the value is there. And that's not something really I think that we had before.
It's so cool to just, I'm sitting back like listening to you and like, I'm so proud of you, but because I can hear you understand the mechanics of your business. You understand not only the structures, which is important, and when you do stuff, but you also understand why you're doing stuff. You also understand how it all fits into the bigger picture, but how it leads to getting you business.
Absolutely.
Because you've gotten business. Because I remember like very early on when we started, you were like, guess what, guys? I forget how early in the 5-month program, but it was probably in the first few weeks, right? Like you got your client and you're like, got a client. And then it seemed, at least for me anyways, it might not seem as steady to you, but it seemed as if throughout that, and even our prior conversations going live here, like you've been getting more consistent clients.
Absolutely. More consistent clients and also at a higher rate as well, which is fantastic. Because I think the whole idea behind selling coaching is, I mean, if you want to go pro, you want to be able to do that as your full-time thing. That's your passion. So my thought was, and this is through your help with the coaching, if this is something I'm really passionate about and want to do more of, well, what are the ways that I can use your teachings to help me make that a reality? So it was everything from, well, what's the format? What's the cost structure? How do you really engage people? And then even behind the scenes, what are the mechanics? We talked about like how you're going to go about setting up listservs or email systems, or how, that confirmation of services actually comes about. And you were great at providing like templates, and you're like, I tried this one before, this one's helpful, and I tried this other one, or look at this page, look at this video. And that was just like, I tried to be as much of a sponge as I could. And I grabbed a lot of that and I was like, oh my God, that's it. I was trying to build something when you already had the blueprint ready to go. And it just like made sense to be like, oh, okay, cool. I can see this here and I can place that there. And I think the metaphor that I had at the beginning when we started working together was, I think I had the pieces of the bicycle, but I didn't have them placed together. So I was putting a lot of effort to try to turn the wheels, but nothing was happening. Or I was just like moving along slowly. But now I'd like to say I have a nice 10-speed bike. There's still room for plenty of growth even now, but I have the structure and the foundation, which is more than I had before, and that's wonderful.
And, and off that metaphor, I used to race cycling, mountain and road. And so I'm like all on board with the bike analogy there. But it's so what now is you've got this finely tuned bicycle with all the structures and mechanics working because you understand how it all works. Now it's just a matter of the user, which is you and your wife, Karen, because she does the business with you as well.
Absolutely. Together we are the Gov Geeks.
The user getting more fit and more efficient at utilizing the tools that you've developed, which is
absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And then now it's easier for us to understand, okay, so if we decide to change the tires or, improve the suspension or what have you, those are items that allow us to understand how that could potentially improve what we're doing. So we're looking at other things like doing a lot of online courses as well. It's similar to the wJavier, except that it is a little bit more planned in terms of execution, that adds a lot of value but doesn't have a lot on our time, and it might be more consumable for some people. We're looking at different ways of providing services to organizations rather than more towards individuals, more speaking engagements. And what's great is that now I can go out and I have something that I could offer a little bit more concretely. So they say, what do you do? What do you have? Rather than me saying, here's what I can do or what's important to you, here's what I've established. Here's what's available. Here's how this has impacted this other person. Here's this, program, et cetera. And that allows them to really envision themselves in the work as opposed to trying to, think of everything on their end and me going, yeah, I could totally do that for you.
Exactly. And that's cool. I know as we started looking at the marketing plan, you developed, right? I helped guide you, but you developed the 14-day GovGeek challenge, right?
Yep.
And through doing that, and you can talk about that a little bit as well, but it sounds like through doing that and understanding what it really takes to market and fill the seats, right? Like
Absolutely.
it's a involved process. Um, I think that evolved the way you looked at things and said, like you said just a minute ago, like, yeah, I want to, instead of selling to individuals, I want to sell to groups, to
Right.
agencies, to things like that. Talk about that learning process, of developing the 14-day GovGeek challenge and then where you went from there.
Sure. Well, I mean, I'll be honest to you and to honestly all the coaches that are watching this. I had some apprehension with the idea about, going live or creating an event or something because, what happens if you put in all this effort and then no one shows? And there's that fear behind that. I mean, it's very real. And that was one of the things that kind of like stopped me from doing a lot of that and working with Karen, kind of launching all of this stuff. So through conversations with you and coaching, we understood that it's part of the bigger thing. It's not necessarily like, oh, wow, look, I have 5,000 people that's watching this live right now, and that's going to lead to this. It's part of a bigger strategy. So when we were thinking about the GovGeek Challenge, we wanted to lay out something that was very valuable for people, and then using the marketing structure that we were talking about earlier, that allows people to have that as an option for them. There's a way to kind of build the audience and take them from one point to the other where they're gaining value all throughout. And it's not like you're going to say, bam, I posted the challenge. Now we have all these people that are in. It's a long-term process, which, you and I have talked about many times before. And I know longtime listeners and viewers have really understood that from a lot of your coaching. But with the system established, people can move from one phase to the other as they're ready. And we know as coaches that you can't force change on a person. They have to want whatever change that they're looking for. That's part of the coaching process. So this has created a system for them that allows them to really move at their pace. And at the same time, we're available, we're supportive. And when the time is right, they can move from our free material, our videos or live shows, to more paid content and different levels of paid content as well.
Yeah. Dude, it's so exciting listening to you talk about this. Let me
I know, I'm getting all jittery just talking about it. It's
I
great.
know. Let me pull up your website, thegovgeeks.com. I get that correct?
That's us. Yeah, exactly. Right.
Just this way, if people, they've heard us talk about the Gov Geeks. And kind of wrapping this up, can you share like where the Gov Geeks came from?
Oh, yeah, that is the genius of Karen. I mean, she is just fantastic because, what we try to do is purpose-focused coaching. So it's all about asking 4 questions. What are you good at? What can you get paid to do? What do you like to do? And what is it that the world needs? So when we thought about that, we're like, well, we love government. Obviously, we love a lot of great geeky things, like I have Wonder Woman behind me over here. Plenty of Marvel movies and all of that stuff. And we wanted it to be where we are serious about professional development rather than just like serious on ourselves. We wanted it to be available for people, consumable, as opposed to kind of the standoffish approach to coaching. So we're like, okay, well, what does that look like? And as you can tell, I have an eagle right here right above me on one of our doors. Because I love eagles. And Karen just took the time and she's like, well, this is great. What if you're the eagle and you wear bow ties? That's your signature thing. So let's put a bow tie on the eagle. And the eagle has, glasses, and he's got this cool collar that's like a flag. And that's just the embodiment of it. And we wanted it to be something that was memorable and catchy and helpful for people. So if you're interested in government, why not trust the Gov Geeks to help you with your government career?
What I love about what you guys do is you took like your values and a vision of what you had, and you made it true to yourselves. You made it fun and aligned with just who the both of you are at the core, and you're not afraid to express that. And it's fun. Like it's just fun. Like as you describe it, it's fun. And to me, that's what business should be.
And I totally agree. And to kind of echo that that when you're thinking about long-term strategies and staying up late and writing proposals or reaching out to people or doing research or having coaching conversations, if what you're doing isn't providing you that purpose, like filling you up, getting you excited about it, then it's going to be a challenge, because then week in, week out, when you're like, I have to write them email, I have to do this, I have to do this. Instead, it's like, oh, cool. What if we get to do this? What if we look at this software? What if we edit our videos this way? What if we do this type of a program? And then it gets exciting because it's something that you want to do. It's the difference between that Sunday evening feeling where you're like, oh my God, I got to go to work tomorrow, to that Friday afternoon feeling where you're like, woohoo, it's the weekend. I can finally do what I want to do. I mean, designing the life about what you want to do. That's what this is for us.
That's so cool. I gotta say this before we head off. It was awesome working with you, because whatever, number one, you trusted me. You really did. And no matter what I asked of you, or we developed as a result of the conversations, it's like we hung up the Zoom call or the phone, and you did it relentlessly. Every week you showed up all the time. You did the work. You came prepared. Every time it was a one-on-one or focus seat, whatever, like you were prepared. You had questions. The focus was there. And it's, to me, as a mentor, as a coach as well, but as a mentor coach, like I couldn't ask any more from a client or a student, and so,
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And that's a testament to you and what you do. And it's no surprise to me that you've created the results that you've created, because you do the work. Like that's it. You do the work, and you get results. And so it's been exciting to see you actually create those results. So thank you for that.
Absolutely. Thank you. And thank you for always being ready and having resources. Because I think what's so fantastic about your approach to mentor coaching is if the individual puts more into it, you're able to give them more, because it's not like you're just like shoveling stuff to them. You're saying, well, what's important to you? How can I help you? What are you looking for? What are the challenges? And then you look at the resources that you have and then provide them, so that it's helpful for people. It's not like a person is going to work with you as a coach and then you're just going to, all right, same old stuff. Let me just shovel it over the fence and they're going to do with what they will. No, you're really involved and engaged. You're present, which is wonderful. And I appreciate that.
Yeah. Javier, thank you so much. Last thought, what do you feel the biggest value of the mentor coaching was for you?
I think it was connecting with a core purpose, because I mentioned it before, where I felt like there was a lot of challenges where I didn't know what the next step was. And through our discussions, it allowed me to understand, well, what is that path, and how can I connect that with what I feel is our purpose in creating this organization and doing coaching. Having that outlet, I think, was wonderful, because otherwise I could have gotten to that point where I am now, but it would have taken a lot more trial and error. But with your mentor coaching and your approach that you've taken, we were able to use that as a blueprint to connect with our purpose, and then honestly have that degree of fulfillment. And I'm so excited, because I'm looking forward to even more now that I have an understanding of the path forward.